To the island we go. Beautiful Bora Bora here at the Tommy John studio. We had to leave the Galapagos, but it's time for Thursday Night Football. A little same game parlay action island coming to you now. And I mentioned Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, they were standing by. Well, they took a red eye. They're joining me now alongside Gilles Gallant coming on. So we're going to, if this is your first time, give a same game parlay for Thursday Night Football. And this is how it's going to work. Nick, Gilles, Sean, they'll each present two of their best bets, or just bets that they're leaning in general for this one. Not all of them are their best bets. We heard Nick and Sean earlier in the show. And then we will vote. One in, one off. Obviously, the beauty of an SGP is that you can say, you know what, I didn't like what the guys voted in. I want the other one. We are going to build an SGP here, and rumor has it, it's going to be a big one. So, Nick Giffen, you're starting us off, my friend. Where are you headed?
Yeah, I'm starting us off with a little anti-correlation here to build the odds already. So I'm going to give my two picks out right here. Mike Williams, under 1.5 receptions. If you're looking to bet it individually, plus 165. And then the second one is Mike Williams, anytime touchdown, plus 410. Now, these are not official picks. These are not individual plays. But I am giving this out for an anti-correlation boost as a parlay because I do like some of the indications here. Mike Williams is coming off a knee injury, and last week, he couldn't even get more than half a yard average of separation. He was blanketed, and maybe that's part of why he was Aaron Rodgers' first read, just 2.5% of the time so far on his routes this year. Now, that said, he has always crushed man coverage, and the Patriots, they've run the fourth most man coverage this year, over 3.5 yards per route run each of the last two seasons versus man coverage. 38% of Mike Williams' touchdowns have been for long ones as well, 25 plus yards, and 16.3 of all of his receptions have been for 25 plus yards. So I think he can just catch one long one for a touchdown here.
I say, so I like this look. Mike Williams, we saw his snap count go up to about, it was like 15%, 20% in week one, goes up to about 2/3 in week two. Obviously a quick turnaround for a guy off an ACL, probably around the same, but he'll be on the field. He's a deep ball threat. He made a great catch against the Titans. We're hoping maybe a little offsides penalty and a deep ball to Mike Williams to bring it home, but he's a big-bodied, a great red zone threat for Aaron Rodgers. So under 1.5 receptions or anytime touchdown for Mike Will. Guys, let's get to voting. So we heard me in the last segment talk about Mike Will anytime touchdown. So I think we know where we're going. But Gilles, Sean, show your picks in 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, reception. See, I knew I was going to get voted off
I'm
here.
just voting for Mike Williams.
Yeah, either way, it's a Mike Will prop, but we're going with the under 1.5 receptions. I understand it. I understand the whole snap. He's only been on 2/3 of the field. He doesn't get the separation. I get it, guys. I get it. This is why I'm driving the bus. You guys are the ones voting and outvoting me here. This is why it's a democracy. But Gilles Gallant, you're up next. Your 2 touchdown picks for this Thursday Night Football.
Sure. So we're going to go with 2 tight ends. We're going to start on the Patriots side. We're going to look at Hunter Henry at plus 500. He's coming off a game where he saw 12 targets. And through 2 games, he's been really the top receiving option. He's got the most targets versus zone coverage and man coverage. And he's seen at least 1 red zone target in both games. Now, obviously, the Jets are a much tougher matchup in coverage. But again, with such a low total, Patriots' pretty much entire offensive line is questionable at this point. I still feel that we got to go with long shots in this game. And that's why I also like Tyler Conklin at plus 450, because one of the few tight ends that's playing over 90% of snaps. He's mainly out of the slot. He's running routes at a 93% clip through 2 games. He just hasn't been really productive yet. And but facing a Patriots defense that I think got, quote the luck rankings here, I think they got a little lucky here through 2 weeks, because 2 different tight ends for the Bengals probably should have had a touchdown in week 1. Mike Gesicki and Tanner Hudson. Jackson Smith-Njigba last week carved them up for about 11 catches. He almost had a touchdown as well. So I think Conklin is a nice buy low spot, especially after he closed his touchdown odds around plus 350 in both week 1 and week 2. So Tyler Conklin around plus 425, plus 450, and Hunter Henry at plus 500 are the 2 selections.
I like going big here on the touchdowns. I think going with a Ramondre, a Breece Hall, those are kind of boring. We get a chance with the 2 tight ends that will be on the field at every single play, both tight end ones in their offense. And we've seen Hunter Henry and Conklin. They have a decent target share in general over the last year plus. All right, guys, Nick, Sean, we're going to have to vote between Hunter Henry and Tyler Conklin. All right, Hunter Henry or Tyler Conklin. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Hunter Henry, Tyler Conklin, Pineapple, and Hunter Henry. All right, Hunter Henry, anytime touchdown. I like this one. I think we get a little Patriots love in here. I think if there's going to be a guy that scores, it's not Ramondre Stevenson. It's going to be the guy fresh off an unbelievable game last week, and you mentioned it, Jill. Mike Gesicki, they actually, I think, came out and said that he should have had that touchdown and it not be overturned. So maybe the tight end luck comes back around here and Hunter Henry gets in the end zone in general. But all right, Sean Kerner, you're up. Your 2 picks for Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, so for my first one, let's go with Antonio Gibson of the Patriots over 23.5 rushing yards. Like I mentioned with my Jacoby Brissett under 16.5 completions prop, just the Patriots have been very run heavy on offense so far this year. I expect that to continue tonight against the Jets. And Ramondre Stevenson's been a workhorse back. He's seen 20 plus touches in both games so far. So I think on a short week, they might give him a little bit of a breather and let Gibson see a few more carries. Gibson looked excellent last week, ran for 96 yards. So I like his over here. I'm projecting him closer to 29.5. And for my second one, let's get crazy here. Let's go with Mike Williams, 25 or more receiving yards. This is an anti-correlation play, but if there's anyone who could catch one pass for more than 25 yards, it's Mike Williams. Who, was eased back into action in week 1. He's coming off the 2023 ACL tear. So he only ran around on 19% of Aaron Rodgers' dropbacks. Didn't see a single target. Last week, he drew 1 target, but it was in a game where he ran on 73% of Aaron Rodgers' dropbacks. So we might see a couple targets here if he gets that kind of usage going forward. But, again, I wouldn't be shocked if he just catches 1 pass that's downfield. So I think this could really significantly boost our parlay. And, it's an anti-correlation thing that makes sense when it comes to Mike Williams.
Right. Antonio Gibson, 7 carries week 1, 11 week 2. So it's not like usage is down for him. He's going to get the touches. So it makes sense with the rushing yards. And, in general, you gave out the Jacoby Brissett under earlier in the show. It goes hand in hand with that kind of thought. And then, of course, Mike Williams, we can go negative correlation against already the first leg of our parlay, which is Mike Will under 1.5 receptions. Do we boost the odds, fellas, or do we go with Antonio Gibson rushing yards? Let's get to voting. All right, show your votes here. Mike Will or Antonio Gibson? 3, 2, 1. Mike Will season. Mike Will. Mike Will. Mike Will made it. That's the what we're going to be playing in the background of our game if he's able to catch this deep ball for 25 plus yards. I mean, listen, guys, I like this one. Mike Will under 1.5 receptions with 25 plus receiving yards boosts our parlay so much. And just a recap of what that parlay has now that we've gotten the voting underway. We have Mike Will under 1.5 receptions, Hunter Henry an anytime touchdown, and Mike Williams for 25 plus receiving yards. So just 1 deep ball out of Mike Will and we will have it in the bag. That's not much to ask for, guys. You put this together and it should come out to about over 100 to 1, 110 to 1 based on the odds at hand. All right. Nick, Sean, anyone want to speak to their thoughts? I know you two were the ones that were talking about the Mike Will love early on before the show. Nick, I'll kick it to you.
Yeah, it's I can definitely see Mike Williams ending this parlay by catching more than 1.5 passes. So as an individual play, if you want a little hedge, you could take his over 1.5 receptions, because you're just sprinkling a 100-to-1 parlay. And I think if it ends, you could play that Mike Williams over 1.5 as an individual play. But I still think he's been limited. He hasn't been able to get separation. It could be a game where the Jets are ahead a lot. I don't mind it. I just hope the only Patriots touchdown is Hunter Henry for my Joey Sly under extra points.
or we get a Joey Sly missed extra point, and then we can have maybe
2-point conversion, something like that.
Yeah, or they go for 2. Maybe they're down by 8, something like that. I don't know. Only time will tell based on this, guys. But Gilles Gallant, Nick Giffen, Sean Kerner, appreciate you guys hopping on, and it's safe to say if we hit this one, we might need a little party in session, guys.
That's right.
All right, just one more recap of what we just concocted over at the SGP. Mike Williams under 1.5 receptions. That was courtesy of Nick Giffen. Hunter Henry, anytime touchdown scorer from Gilles Gallant. And then Sean Kerner, the little anti-correlation. Mike Will, 25+ receiving yards. You put all three together, and you get a payout over 100-to-1.